Greetings and welcome to a rather dingy day. We've got something to warm you up and we're going to look at today's marathon. Something that I haven't seen people do, and that's look at Jimi Hendrix's posthumous albums. Now there's a kaleidoscope of stuff out there of unreleased work. Some of it isn't. It's been overdubbed and all sorts. But there's actually 13 posthumous albums by Jimi Hendrix. So I thought I would tackle them and see which one is the definitive album that would have been the next album. So, coming in at number 13 is an album that was released in 1975, and it's called Crash Landing. And here we've got little bits of this and that and what have you. Now this is a double album. A lot of the tracks are repeated, so we won't go through all the tracks on each album if they're going to be on a later album that I'm doing. So allegedly playing on here is Jimi Hendrix on lead guitars and vocals, Buddy Miles on drums, Billy Cox bass, Huma Sultan on percussion. So the first track appears on another one called West Coast Seattle Boy, Message to Love. You don't know if it's Jimmy because you'll find out in a minute. Somewhere Over the Rainbow, which does appear on the Jimi Hendrix Experience box set. I don't think it's that brilliant. Crash Landing, which is on another album, People, Hell and Angels, Come Hard on Me from People, Hells and Angels, we'll talk about that later. Peace in Mississippi, which is a single with the box set reissue, and there's a different alternative version of this on Saturn Delta. This version is overly heavy, overdubbed. There's With the Power, which appears on the both sides of the skies. Stone Again, which is sort of a rehash, sort of Stone Free. It's definitely a reworking. Captain Coconut is this is a stitch together bits of this, bits of that, and they've made it into a song. It's very higgledy-piggledy and it doesn't flow very well. So Crash Landing is one of the more controversial albums. It was produced by Alan Douglas and features heavy overdubs by session musicians. So you just don't know who's doing what and if it is Jimi Hendrix playing. So for that reason, I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 3 out of 10. Okay, coming in at number 12 is from November 1975, and it's called Midnight Lightning. It's produced by Alan Douglas and Tony Bongvoy and contains demo-type recordings that were overdubbed with other musicians again that had never played with Hendrix. So you've got a little demos from Jimmy and some session musicians. They don't even say who they are. So the first one is Trash Man, which it sort of appears on Valleys of Neptune as a different version. It's alright, I can cope with that. Midnight Lightning is a bit suspect. And there's hardly anything of Jimmy on it. Hear My Train, which appears on Valleys of Neptune. Gypsy Boy, New Sun Rising, People and Angels is on here. Then this really strange version of Blue Suede Shoes. There's a track on here called Machine Gun. I don't know if it's Jimmy playing on it or not. The voice sounds like Jimmy, but is the guitar work Jimmy? I don't know. Once I Had a Woman, which is a blues thing. Beginnings, which is written by Mitch Mitchell. It does sort of appear in different versions. Again, it sounds alright, but it's very hard to pick out who's Jimmy, if it is Jimmy. So I shall give that one an RTO ranking of 5 out of 10, purely because the music's good, but we don't know if it's Jimmy or not. Okay, coming in at number 11 This one's from 1995, and it's a Voodoo Soup, and it's one of the last of the Posthumous albums produced by Alan Douglas, and it was who was also responsible for the others. This was Douglas's attempt to present in the fourth planned album. So on here is Jimi Hendrix guitars and vocals, Billy Cox on bass, Mitch Mitchell drums, Uma Sultan percussion, Buddy Miles plays some drums on here. Noel Redding does does the bass on Peace in Mississippi and Midnight, and Bruce Gray recorded a drum track as well. So the New Rising Sun isn't too bad. It's got that, you can tell it's Jimmy, definitely. So then there's a couple of tracks that appear on other posthumous albums. We've got Belly Button Window that will appear on The Cry of Love, and Stepping Stone on the War Heroes. Now this version of Stepping Stone is slightly different from the one that's going to be on War Heroes. Then there's a handful of tracks that are going to appear on other albums: Freedom, Cry of Love, Angel, Cry of Love, Full Moon of Mirrors, Rainbow Bridge, Midnight from War Heroes, Nightbird Flying, The Cry of Love, Drifting's Cry of Love, Easy Riders, Cry of Love, and Phil Gap, Rainbow Bridge. Message to Love it's on the did appear on the Jimi Hendrix Experience, and Peace in Mississippi, and then In From the Storm. This isn't too bad. You know, there's so many people that think, oh, this is that going to be on that album, that's going to be on that album. But on the whole, I quite like listening to this. So I'm going to give it an RTO ranking of 6 out of 10. Okay, coming in at number 10. Now this one was released in 2013. It's called People, Hell and Angels. Again, it's previously unrecorded tracks that he had been working on for the planned up follow to Electric Ladyland, Da Di Da Di Da. Features Billy Cox, Buddy Miles on things. So we got Earth Blues, which was recorded in 1969. It's pretty good. It's got some nice guitar bits on there. Somewhere. Now this is recorded from 68. It's one of the best tracks on here. It's got a great solo. I really do like. Hear My Train Coming. Classic Jimi Hendrix, regardless of when he was recorded. It's really cool. I do like that track. Then there's a Elmore James track on here, Bleeding Heart. A great version of that song. Let Me Love You, recorded in 69. Soulful this is. Was this the way that Jimmy was going to go? I don't know. It was a little bit different. Then we have Isabella, which appears on another album, Easy Blues, Crash Landing, Inside Out, and Hey Gypsy Boy. Then there's Mojo Man, which features the Ghetto Fighters, which is Albert and Arthur Allen. This is a great little session. There's lots of overdubs on it though. Then we have this little groovy track called Villanova Junction Blues. It's only 1 minute and 44, but it's quite groovy. I don't know who's on it. It's a short instrumental apparently from the Woodstock rehearsals. Yeah, this is another of those releases that people try and imagine what's on it. There's some really good stuff on it. So it's very jam man sort of thing, bit improv. So I'm going to give that one an RTO ranking of 6.5. I feel that it's getting darker, but that's just probably me. Coming in at number 9. Now this one was released in 2010, and it's called Valleys of Neptune. And it says it promoted that having 12 previously unreleased studio recordings, including the title track, and one of the most sought after of all Hendrix's commercially unavailable recordings. Yeah, they'd like to build these up. So it's stone free. Some nice guitar work on there. It's quite a good track. You know, even though it's recorded in 69, it was recorded at the Plant Studios. It's got a lot of feel to it. Valleys of Neptune. This is a really good track, and I do believe Mitch Mitchell is the drummer on this. It's pretty cool. It sounds like it is, but you just can't tell, can you? Then we have Bleeding Heart from Elmore James again here. My Trainer coming. Mr. Bad Luck, recorded in '67, and then overdubbed again. This one's been overdubbed. It's all right. Sounds a bit like others. It's probably one of the better sounding tracks on the album, by all accounts. Then they do. He does a version of Cream's "Sunshine of Your Love," a bit more speeded up. Not a fan of that, but it has got a killer guitar solo on it. Lover Man, it's just a jam really. There's nothing else going on that one. Ships Passing Through the Night, a really good track. It's got a lot of groove, killer riffs. Then they do a version of Fire, which is very similar to the one that's on there. They recorded Red House, pretty cool version of that. Lullaby for the Summer, which is on Saturn Delta, bit different. Crying Blue Rain, more of a jam, you know, in the studio. This one is a fascinating one. It's lots of recordings from '67. The band, they're saying there's a lot of what went on for the Band of Gypsies, which we'll have a look at a later date. So I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 6.6. Okay, coming in at number 8. Now this one was released in 1997 by the Hendrix Experience, the operators of his estate. It contains demos and unfinished tracks in itself, Saturn Delta. So this has definitely got Jimi Hendrix on. Mitch Mitchell plays on quite a lot of the drums. Noel Redding does some bass on here, and Billy Cox. Some other personnel on. Ricky Isaac does some drums. Brian Jones percussion, Larry Lee guitar, Dave Mason 12-string guitar. Buddy Miles does some drumming on it. Yuma Sultan, Jerry Velez on percussion. So Look Over Yonder, which appears on Rainbow Bridge. Little Wing. Now, this is from Axis Bold of Love, of course, the original, but this is the demo version of it, and it's quite raw. And yeah, I quite like it. I like the rawness on there. Here he comes, Lover Man. It's related to Lover Man on the Valley of Neptune. I think this is a better version. It's pretty good. South Saturn Delta. I like this track. It's a lot better than the thing. This is near enough, I would say, the finished article. Power the Soul. It's more of a free-for-all improvisation. Come up with something and let's put it down on tape. I like them sort of tracks. Message to the Universe. It's got some nice guitar on it. Tax Free, which appears on War Heroes. An alternative version of All Along the Watchtower, which is on Electric Ladyland. The guitar is a little bit different. I think he's used a different tone or a different guitar altogether. It does sound different, but it's still good. The Stars That Play with the Laughing Sam Snipes was the B-side of Burning the Midnight Lamp. It's pretty good. Midnight from War Heroes is on here. Sweet Angel, a different version of that. Bleeding Heart, which is on War Heroes, and Pally Gap, which will be on Rainbow Bridge. A Bob Dylan track now on this one is called Drifter's Escape. It's not bad. And Midnight Lightning, different overdubbed. I don't know I think it's Jimmy singing, but I don't know who does the rest, to be quite honest. This album is a real deep dive into the vaults of what was all the recordings. It's got some alternative mixes on. I like the idea of that. And there's a little bit of everything on here. Rock, blues, jazz and psychedelia. So I shall give this one an RTO ranking of 7 out of 10. Coming in at number 7. This came out in 1980 and it's called 9 to the Universe. And it's the third of Hendrix recordings produced by Alan Douglas, and it's just jam sessions Nine to the Uniform is brilliant. Nine to the Universe is brilliant. There's a little bit of chatter on there. I love this. It's just Jimmy going off on one, and it's brilliant. Then we get the Jimmy Jam. The guitar work on that again is incredible. And then on the other side you've got young Hendrix. That's pretty good. Easy Blues, which was of course on People, Hell and Angels. Drone Blues isn't a very good recording. It seems like it's been recorded in the toilet. Yeah, this, as I said, this is definitely a jam album, and again a bit improv. I like the improv stuff, you know, versatile. Great little album actually. I was well chuffed with this one, so I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 7.2. Okay, coming in at number 6. Now this one was released in 1972 and it's called War Heroes. And it's the third of mostly unreleased studio recordings issued after his death. This one's mixed and compiled by Eddie Kramer and John Jansen. So allegedly on here is Jimi Hendrix guitars and vocals, Mitch Mitchell on the drums, Billy Cox plays bass on Bleeding Heart, Peter Gunn, Catastrophe, Stepping Stone, Beginning and Isabella, while Noel Redding plays on Highway Chili, Tax Free, Midnight and Three Little Bears. So Bleeding Heart is on here, which will be on others. That was recorded in 1970. It's pretty good. Highway Chili is actually on Are You Experienced, and it's a great version of it. Tax Free, pretty good, like that track. So a real jammy session. It was recorded in spring of 68. Really good. A really bad version of Peter Gunn. Stepping Stone, again, it's just the rawness that I like. Midnight's on here, which is pretty cool. Three Little Bears, very strange record. Beginnings on here, and a version of Isabella on here. This one was compiled, and Jimmy himself is the producer, so he produced some of these tracks, and I think this has got some really interesting versions of these songs. So I'm going to give that one an RTO ranking of 7.3. Okay, coming in at number 5, released in 1974, and it is called Loose Ends. It was the fourth and last Hendrix studio album released posthumously by manager Michael Jeffrey, and it features outtakes and jams, with the exception of The Stars That Play, The Laughing Sun Dive, which is solely authorised track by Hendrix in a new stereo mix. That's what it said in my research. So we got Jimi Hendrix guitar and vocals, Billy Cox on bass, Mitch Mitchell's on here, Buddy Miles is on here, Sharon Lane plays piano on Jam 292, Noel Redding plays bass on The Stars That Play with the Laughs, and then Come Hard on Me, which is from the Jimi Hendrix box set. Quite a few versions of this going around. Yet another version of Blue Suede Shoes. Then the best track on here, it's called Jam 292. The piano on it's great, and it's got Jimmy intertwining on the guitar. Then we have The Stars That Play on the with Laughing Sam's Dice. It's a better version than the South Dakota. This is a stereo mix. It's been sort of hashed about, and it's probably one of the definitive versions. We got The Drifter's Escape, which is on Saturn Delta as well. Burning Desire, which is the baggy rehearsal sessions. Absolute killer this is. It's a great vocal, great playing, and it's a great version. Then they do a Willie Dixon number made famous by Muddy Waters, I'm Your Hoochie Coochie Man. Solid version of that, you can't go wrong with that. And then Have You Ever Been to Electric Ladyland? Really raw version of it, and it's really good. Now this is a real obscure one, they say. It was only issued here in the UK, and they've done a real good job of it, because some of their material was a little substandard according to the notes. So if that's the case, it does sound well. So I'm going to give that an RTO ranking of 7.5. Okay, coming in at number 4 then. This is from 2018, and it's Both Sides of the Sky. It's a 13 track with 10 previously unreleased recordings that were all recorded with either the Jimi Hendrix Experience or the Band of Gypsies, and features guest appearances from Stephen Stills, Johnny Winter and Lonnie Youngblood. So it opens up with a classic Muddy Water song, Managed Boy, pretty good version. Lover Man is on here, that sounds really good on here. Hear My Train Coming, these are all done in late 69, very good. Stepping Stone, great version of that. 20 Dove Fine, which is a Stephen Stills thing, really good. Power of Souls on here. Then there's a track here called Jungle. It's little bits of other tracks put together, it's okay. Things I Used to Do, which is a Guitar Slim track, yeah, it's not too bad. Georgia Blues, best track on here, lovely guitar playing, what a groove, some great drumming. Sweet Angels on here as well, that's pretty good. And then there's a version of Woodstock. Joni Mitchell did it first, and Matthew Southern Comfort have done it, and it's not a bad version. Send My Love to Linda. Now there's some significance. This was actually recorded on the 16th of January 1970, and it's probably one of the last recordings of Jimmy that makes it so special, and it's nice. And again, it sees that Jimmy had switched and was going more soulful. And then Cherokee Miss. It's okay. There's some great stuff on here. It's some real rare showcases of 68 to 70, so it did feature that, probably one of the last tracks on here, so I'm going to give that an RTO ranking of 7.6. Okay, coming in at number 3, released in 1971, Rainbow Bridge. It was produced by Mitch Mitchell, Eddie Kramer and Jon Jansen, with Hendrix also getting a production credit on here. The album was the second release after Hendrix's death, and consists of primarily unreleased studio material, which they say that was intended for that 4th album. So we got Dolly Dagger, which is interesting. We'll talk about that in a bit. Earth Blues, I quite like this. It's a funky little groove, the bass line is great. Then my favourite track on here, and this is the best version of this as well, and it's Pally Gap. I love the jazz blues on this. It's got such a rhythmic percussion on it as well. Roomful of Millers, it's a great track. The drumming on here, I think it is Mitch. Then we have the Star Spangled Banner, a studio version. There's not many of that. It's always a live versions you get. It's okay, of course. It's just the American national anthem. Look Over Yonder's on here. Then the live version of Hear My Train Coming, which is absolutely brilliant. Hey Baby, which is on the new Rising Sun, pretty good. This is a soundtrack to a film of the same name. It's a compilation with lots of good recordings on it. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 8 out of 10. Okay, coming in at number 2. My throat's starting to go, oh dear. Gesundheit. So coming in at number 2 is the first Posthumous album. It was recorded in 1970, and it does feature the new material, of course, that was planned before his death. And it's called The Cry of Love. This is Jimi Hendrix and Billy Cox and Mitch Mitchell. So Freedom's on here, Drifting, Easy Rider, Nightbird Flying, My Friend. They're going to be on another album. Straight Head, Astro Man Angel, In the Storm, and Belly Button Window. Right. This is quite raw, these tracks. It's very demo style, so I still like it, and I'm going to give that an RTO ranking of 8.3. So the number one, and this is what a lot of people think would have been the new album, and it's basically Cry of Love that's been mixed properly, etc, etc. So that's why I didn't say too much about the tracks. So this is called The First Rays of the New Rising Sun, and it was put together in 1997, and it actually reached the album charts in the US and the UK. So the first track is Freedom, The Cry of Love. Absolutely stunning track. A little different sounding from the early years, but it's brilliant. And the bass line from Billy Cox is brilliant on here, and it's certainly, they've took that raw, and whoever produced this, which I think, does it say who produces it in my little notes? No, but it's been well put together. Great track. Isabella, which was on War Heroes as well, but the drumming in this from Mitch is brilliant. It's an excellent track. Nightbird Flying, this really showboats Mitch Mitchell's drumming range. Some great guitar work from Jimmy. It's this change in direction. This was definitely a change in direction, a bit more soulful. Angel, it's really mellow. It's a really lovely track as well. Some nice guitar work on that. Room Full of Mirrors. I love the drumming on this. There's a little bit of cowbell in here. The Billy's bass line is excellent. This is a more funky track. And then there's Dolly Dagger, which I love on the Rainbow Bridge, but on here it sounds so much better, and it's my favourite track from this album. It's got such a funky bass line. Brilliant. And then Easy Rider. This is the best version. It's been polished up, it's clean, but it's still got that rawness on it, and it's got a great guitar on it as well. Drifting sounds so much better cleaned up like this. Absolutely terrific track. Beginnings, I love this version. I love the rawness on the War Heroes, but on here it's absolutely top notch. Stepping Stone, again, that was on War Heroes. But this again is a more polished, and it sounds great. My Friend, second favourite track on here. It is the best version of this on all the albums that it's been on. It's got that bluesy feel to it. It's excellent. Straight Ahead. It's not far off the Cry of Love version, to be honest. I didn't have to do too much. I think the guitar solo has been how would I put it? It's been put through something to make it sound a lot better. Brilliant. So track Hey Baby from Rainbow Bridge, another of my favourites. It's a great track from the Rainbow Bridge, and this is the best version of it. Earth Blues, solid. The backing vocals are on this. It's very soulful again. It's going more away from the psychedelia to a silo sort of psychodelia version. Astro Man, I love this, the raw version on Cry of Love, but this sounds even better. In From the Storm, again, the guitar effects have really cleaned this up. It's phenomenal. Great track. And the last track, Belly Button Window, bluesy. The guitar work from Jimmy is fantastic. So if this was going to be the fourth album, which I think this is the most definitive of all the Posthumous albums, it's the best sounding one. I really enjoy this, and to be quite honest, it's the only one that I've got a copy of on my iPod, because I think it just defines what would have been. Absolutely stunning album this is. Well produced. Someone's took a great care in getting this sound perfect. So I'm going to give that an RTO ranking of 8.5. Well, that was a different one. I just wanted to find for my other what is the best posthumous album, and it's the one that's the most cleaned and sounding brilliant. Okay, that's all for today. Yeah, it's a bit of an old murky day in here, but there you go. Okay, tomorrow is Thursday, which means we've got a sophomore drone, and it's the first of the viewers' pick. And I know this one's picked by Nick because of the combination is. It's Patty Boulay against Zodiac Mind Warp and the Love Reaction. And also tomorrow is Pick a Mix, and we're going to look at the top 10 singles in the UK on the 2nd of October 1966, 1 week before I was born. So that's all coming up tomorrow. So have a great day, everyone. Hopefully it'll be a lot lighter tomorrow. I think it's going to rain. Bye for now.